President.
Hey, do we have Kendra? Do you got the BPMO video?
Would I have it? Have I played it before?
I mean, it was on the website, but it's not on the website anymore. So I don't know if you know where it is.
We are live. Welcome to the November edition of BPM's General Body Meeting. I am your MC for the evening. I'm Shad Didi Laser. And so let's get into tonight's agenda. Make sure everyone mute your screen or your audio. Okay, so with today's topic of November's general body meeting is leadership in the family, career, and community. And so we're going to feature some great topics from Leroy Mckenzie Jr. We have Kevin Wayne Johnson filling in as our community partner. We also will feature our BPM Book Club review. And for our mastermind, we're going to cover what are you building in 2022. And so for those of you who will follow the organization as well as want to be a part of the organization, you'll get to learn the inner workings of the organization through our committee reports and updates. And finally, we will wrap things up with our president's report, where our president, Hassan Diggs, will share the upcoming news, notes, exciting partnerships, etc. In the world of BPM. You can go to our Linktree profile and download the agenda and tune in to this session. Thank you to those on YouTube as well as Facebook for tuning in on social media. Make sure you leave any comments and questions on the social media platform that you're viewing in order for you to participate virtually. Now, we'll start this meeting off with a short prayer and get into tonight's presentations and feature video as well. So let's bow our heads. Heavenly Father, we ask that you bless this moment of fellowship, of community and camaraderie, and allow us to come together to exchange ideas, value, and strength in the effort to build our communities and reach our mission of ensuring the future of the African American male. We ask that the ideas and the voices that we share on this broadcast reach someone, whether it is a brother, a family member who needs BPM within their lives, the community, their growth, their development. And we ask that this meeting goes successfully. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Okay. So for Leroy, please email him the link directly. And so we will make some adjustments and go into our featured video of the evening. So just share the link.
Did you share it in the chat? Throw it to me in the chat real quick.
Okay. There we go. There we go, Leroy.
Got it.
And so
Yes, sir.
yourself.
So it's right now. It's at this time of the struggle. We go through a restructuring. We have competition that's doing weird stuff out in the market. And what you're saying is it's right now that tests my mettle, that builds me as a leader.
Yes, without any question. The sign that I saw the other day that said, if you're going through hell, don't stop. Keep moving. You know, you got to continue to move. And if you continue to move and make the adjustments and fine tune your strategy and let the people on the organization know, hey, look here, we're going to make this happen. And here's what they have to do. They have to come from a place of it's possible. And once people begin to know that it's possible, then they begin to work within that framework. Sometimes we have to be intelligently ignorant. Many people fail to achieve the goals that they're capable of doing because they judge according to appearances. They know too much and they think themselves out of it. What we have to do in this point in time, at this period of our history, is begin to be open to the possibility that it's possible, that we can do this. And the next step is that it's necessary. It's necessary that we find a way to make this work, that we look for ways to optimize the efficiency of our operation. It's necessary that everybody gets on the same page. It's necessary that we develop one vision, one voice, and higher standards on how we're going to begin to drive the culture, to impact our bottom line, to begin to take the level of customer service that we envision to another level to dominate the marketplace. It's necessary. Being second place is not name of the game. That's not acceptable. We've got to make it happen. And that it's you and it's me. All of us must take ownership for it. It was George Bernard Shaw who said, the people that make it in life, they look around for the circumstances that they want, and if they can't find them, they create them. That's what leaders do.
And how do I take that picture that I have and get my employees to really see the possibility as well?
Speed of the leader, speed of the group. You have got to buy into it. You've got to believe it. The difference between leaders and people that are followers. Leaders, it's a whole different standard for them. You know, it's a difference between being in the business and the business being in you. That it has to be who you are and that you set the pace for the organization. If the leader becomes cynical, if there's any doubt, if you don't have absolute faith that you can make it happen, if you become cynical, if they sense that you don't believe that it can happen, if you start complaining about the fact that you can't get your higher-ups to answer, or there's so much political bureaucracy that we have to deal with, that you're frustrated, that you don't know what to do, that you're pulling your hair out, that you can't sleep at night because of the fact that it's out of your control. If you have that victim mindset and feeling powerless, that nonverbal communication, your facial expression, your energy, the spirit of who you are, that will permeate and contaminate the spirit of the organization. Many leaders, their effectiveness with their people, their impact, their influence begins to diminish because they don't take the time to sharpen their minds, to build their faith, to build their skills, to empower and increase their confidence in themselves. So part of what we have to do, all leaders, you have to take time to pour into yourself. And you've got to also reach out. You've got to have a board of advisors, and it's your support committee that will give you a home court advantage. More teams win at home than they do on the road. 87%. Why? Because they have people cheering for them. I think that all leaders should have people around them, their group, their mastermind group, that will help to pour into them. There's safety and counsel that they can talk to. One of the things I always tell leaders that ask for help, not because you're weak, but because you want to remain strong. And ask for help, and don't stop until you get it.
Okay. That was the legendary Les Brown. And there's a couple key points to be shared in this particular video, food for thought for this session. So when we judge according to appearance, for example, that will allow us to miss the opportunity because sometimes opportunities show up dressed as hard work and we miss what we can claim. The possibility that it's possible is another key area. And sometimes, let's say we price ourselves out, we underestimate our value in a situation, and that allows us to miss opportunity. Also, it's necessary. And so part of finding your why is making that compelling reason necessary for your growth and or development. One vision, one voice. And as leaders, what we have to often look at is what are our core values, and do our team members and employees follow those core values? If you hire somebody that's older in experience and they don't buy into your core values, they're going to create their own path. And if you hire someone who's younger, who may believe in your core vision, but is not backed by consistency, then what you find is that they lose faith in the mission and completely check out in many cases. So, and most importantly, asking for help. The most successful person that I've ever worked with and ever partnered with asked for help more than anybody that I've ever met. And that completely blew my mind because in many cases, especially when you're on the rise, business can be from a sense of pride, meaning I can do it all by myself. And success, business, entrepreneurship is definitely a team sport. It's not a solo endeavor. And so having the people around you to help you grow is very important. And so let's say we're going to transition looking at our attendees.
I know Kevin is trying to come in right now, so.
Okay, so for those who are here, make sure those who are here are panelists so you can appear on the big stage. And we'll go into brief introductions. And so we'll go into introductions with Kendrick and Hassan being last in that particular order. So we'll start. We'll go with Christopher. Please unmute yourself and introduce yourself, please.
Fantastic. I don't know if you guys can see and hear me. I'm assuming you can, correct?
Yes.
Perfect. All right. I'm Christopher Dews. I'm 30 years old, actually from Laurel, Maryland. I'm currently a policy advocate for the Job Opportunities Task Force. I'm basically a lobbyist for lower income workers in Baltimore City. So I don't know what else you would like to know about me, but that's pretty much the gist of it. And I found out about this group actually through Meetup. So I'm just interested in just trying to be a part, man.
Wonderful. Thanks for attending, Christopher. And sounds like you were up to great things within the community. So welcome to our meetings. We meet every second Wednesday of the month. So tune into Meetup and for upcoming topics as well. So let's transition over to John Harris. Please unmute yourself, sir, and introduce yourself to the group.
Hello, John Harris. Been with the organization 5 or 6, maybe 5 years now. Here to help make things happen and help ensure the mission of this great organization. Been around for 30-something years. It has staying power and connection strength.
Definitely longer than 5 years, John Harris. Definitely longer than 5, but welcome to the meeting, good sir. Okay, Cornell, we are doing introductions at this time. So please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about yourself, please. Unmute.
All right. Hey, everybody. I'm Cornell Smith. I'm the fitness guy. I don't know how long I've been in BPM, but it's a while. So I like to kind of do a lot behind the scenes. And I'm a game day kind of person. So I don't like to be at meetings. I don't like paperwork, but everything else, I'm here for it.
Okay. And I am Shadidi Laser. I'm an entrepreneur, and I focus on content licensing. One of the hats I wear, I serve as the president for an organization called SCORE, which is the nation's largest network of certified business mentors. I lead the third oldest chapter in the United States, and I'm the youngest chapter chair in the United States. Small business is my passion, and I love to serve. Within Black Professional Men, I serve as the partnership chair. Now, moving on to for those who are on camera, Kendrick, followed by Hassan.
Greetings, everyone. I am Kendrick Tillman. I serve as the Vice President of Programs here at Black Professional Men. I think I've been a member of almost a decade now. If not, I think this might be my decade year. I think I came in around 2011 or 12, and it's been an exciting movement just to see the growth of this organization that's now 30 years old. It's amazing how we can have our sticker on a bunch of cars like NASCAR and be able to help you accomplish your goals or accomplish whatever challenge might be before you. I'm also the president of the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce and the president of the Baltimore County African American Cultural Festival. And I'm looking forward to bringing resources to the organization and always looking forward to pulling resources out of the organization to give to other individuals, specifically to ensure the future of the African American male.
Good evening. I'm Hassan Diggs. I have the privilege of serving as the current president of this great organization. That's a privilege that I do not take lightly. I became a member in 2013, and for those of you who are first visiting this our meeting through virtual, you know, we're working to get back to be able to do this safely in person, because when I first came to a meeting and I saw a room full of a room full of professional Black men, and I wasn't the only one, you know, that was a feeling that it's a high that I love to be able to renew it every month since I've been a member. So, like I said, I've been a member since 2013, and it is an undescribable feeling to be around like-minded Black men who want to do better for their community, do better for themselves, and do better for their family.
Okay, excellent. Now, Fred Brandon, we're doing introductions, good sir. So unmute yourself and tell the good people who you are and what you do.
All right, hey, how's everyone doing? My name is Fred Brandon. I've been in the tech industry for over 20 years. I recently started transitioning from doing a lot more of understanding the Microsoft world, doing, educating, teaching, working in that field, to moving into the blockchain industry. So now being able to understand blockchain, I've also started to help people learn more about cryptocurrency, as well as getting into the blockchain space, whether it is as a coder or is going to be into other parts of the realm of blockchain, since it traverses so many different areas within technology. Also wrote a book, Adopting Blockchain and Cryptocurrency, Embracing the Digital Future. So that is pretty much where my allegiance lies a little bit, and to try to help people to learn more about that. I am a founder of Brand New Technologies, which helps companies and people learn more about the industry, as well as, and that includes Microsoft as well. But then I've recently started a a learning platform for children as well called Flames Technology Centers, which will help them learn these areas as well, blockchain, STEM, as well as financial literacy.
Crypto royalty in the building. Adopting blockchain forward. Written by Shadi Q. Elazer. Great for you to join us, Fred. Great for you to join us. Now, transition on to about the organization. And Black Professional Men was founded in the early 90s in response to the various issues in the community that were going on during that time. It's interesting to note that history often repeats itself, where many of the issues of that present era still is happening today. And so I would say that BPM is continuing to evolve, where it started out with our initial mission, which is to ensure the future of the African American male through mentorship, sponsorship, and just overall having a presence in the community, to having a more holistic approach to supporting the Black family overall through job placement and education, through small business, and through support of the family structure overall through the Power Couples Initiative. Black Professional Men is a nonprofit based in the greater Baltimore area. However, there are plans to expand around the continental US. And so for ways that you can get involved, of course, there's membership options where you can participate not only in our general body meeting, which as President Hassan has mentioned, that in-person experience, many of us have that first time attending a meeting and the impact that it has, but there's numerous events that are on the schedule that fit what your needs are or your hobbies. Now, if you're a business owner, you also have the opportunity to partner your business with the organization through our partnership process. That can be event hosting, where your talent or your gift is shared with BPM's core audience, or you can plug into our larger events such as the Black Love Expo, various fitness events, and on down the line within our calendar. The website is blackprofessionalmen.org, where you can learn more about the organization, becoming a member, becoming a sponsor, and joining us in the mission to ensure the future of the African American male, which has been going strong for 3 decades at this time. The overall mission is with the annual scholarship program known as Ray of Hope, and where we pour into scholars each year and provide them with pre, during, and post-college mentorship and leadership training. And so, again, the website is www.blackprofessionalmen.org. Now, our next, we're going to segue into the BPM Book Club. So Rashad and or Hassan, if you want to take the stage and discuss the book club, then the floor is yours.
Is Rashad on?
I'm bringing him up. Yes, he's here.
All right.
Give him one moment. So yes, Rashad, please share an overview of the BPM Book Club at this time.
So good evening, brothers and guests. The BPM Book Club was started about 2.5 years ago to encourage Black men to read. You often hear a lot of negative connotations about Black men reading, and we wanted to kill that myth and tackle that myth, for lack of better words. Right now, we meet monthly. On the first Saturday of every month, we host the at 10 a.m. we host the BPM Book Club. We've had a wide array of books that we've tackled. Some self-help books, some business books, some cultural or societal books on different things in society. Um, Sometimes folks that attend, they may have read the book. Sometimes they may not have read the book. The whole purpose is for us to come together and to discuss the book, and for everyone to walk out of that meeting or that book club hosting um, a better person based upon the book that we choose for that month. So that's the book club.
Can I add something to that?
Sure.
All right. So everything that we do in the organization is surrounded around a goal, right? And a lot of times the best way to reach your goal is through knowledge and through information, is through other people's experiences. And so what we try to do is select books that align with people's goals that they have voiced and shared with the organization. And even if you missed one of the books that we have read, it still is worth it to you to go back and maybe, read that book. Recently, I think it was the compound
Effect. Yep.
Compound Effect, right? So reading that book, it actually mentions that if you do audiobooks in your vehicle, instead of listening to music, you will gain the knowledge of 2.5 years of a degree.
Mm-hmm.
And so,
Can I add to that too,
yeah,
Hassan? Because I like that. But on the flip side, with the actual hard book, the physical book, they said that if you read 20 pages a day, you will have read 30 books within a year. Now imagine, like you just talked about, the knowledge that you get just by listening to the audio. On the same side of, if you're reading, the physical book, and you read just 20 pages a day, which should take you less than an hour, maybe even 30 minutes or so. 30 minutes out of your day, you will have read 30 books in a year. They said the average person only reads one book per year. One. So if you're imagine reading 30, how much more intelligence you've taken in than someone else in that. And I liken it to, and I don't know how many of you all have watched any of the videos or interviews with Kobe Bryant, but he talked about when he was in playing basketball, he talked about his routine, his schedule. He noticed that at first he would what did he say? I think he worked out from 6 to 8, from 8 to 10, would get, rest, eat lunch, do whatever, then go back, work another 2 hours, and then one more time in the evening where he worked out maybe like 2 to 3 times a day, right? And then he would repeat that routine. But he found out by getting up, check this out, by getting up at 4, or by getting to the gym at 4, getting up at 3, working out from 4 to 6, coming back home, eating, and then from 8 to 10, work out, and then I think it was 12 to 2, something like that. It was like 2-hour increments where he gave himself kind of time for the body to kind of cool down or whatever. But he said he increased the amount of times that his workout regimen, he became better than everybody else, because he knew everybody else was only working out 1 to 2 times, at least twice a day, where he was working out at least 4 times a day. So he increased how great he was, and we see how great he became just by doing that, just by adding that one workout schedule, getting up earlier, what nobody else was doing. The same applies with, I believe, when we read books, because we're taking in more information, we're taking more, we're getting more knowledge than the average person. or most people at all. Miles Monroe, who was a pastor, he read something like 60 books in a year, which is like averaged out to maybe like 5 books a month. You know, that's what reading can do to you, or for you, I should say, not to you. What reading books can do for you, and I think is the importance of the book club. So yeah, I think Hassan and Rashad, y'all are right on it with the books that you all include.
Let's cover this from a very practical standpoint. So I myself am the child of an incarcerated parent or someone who has served time in prison. That parent, my father, went and dedicated his life to helping people who were transitioning from prison to normal life. So growing up, because he's done this for 35 years, I've met a whole lot of people, half of greater Philadelphia who's been incarcerated. They know me from as a kid. And so, true story. And so one of the things you must realize is that prisons are privatized. So they're actual businesses. They're a business model. Now, what is the recipe that determines fertile ground for a prison? It is the reading scores of third grade boys. They can predict that based on the reading scores or literacy rates, that is the fertile ground to build a prison. And so if you meet a lot of people who have been incarcerated, even as adults, they started out with learning disabilities. Boys tend to be hyperactive, and you combine that with the inability to read. Most prisoners read below a third grade or fourth grade level. So the habit of reading, for those who are tuning in on the live stream, is fundamental, because in our community, that school to prison pipeline is very real. And so with the BPM Book Club, even if you take my own journey, where I don't attend every book club meeting. However, when the book of the month, for example, is posted within the group me, which is our community for members, I get to see what the book is, and I may look into it. Now, after repeated exposure to that, it motivated me to start my own journey towards reconnecting to reading. I bought into the idea that I was too busy to read. And so now that I'm reading regularly again, those new ideas come up. I can go from idea to execution quickly, or if I'm working on something, I'm getting new perspectives on that. So the book club itself is valuable, and it's something that you should connect to. And many of the meetings are streamed, so you can tune in online as well. So thank you, gentlemen, for letting us know about the book club. And we are going to transition to our featured speaker, who I will leave on the stage here. And so before we transition into that, for those of you who are still joining, please put your contact information in the chat for those of you who are on the Zoom session. And so that can be your LinkedIn profile, that could be your website, that can be an email where you want other brothers to connect with you. If you're viewing this on our YouTube platform or on our Facebook channel, put your information that you're let's say comfortable with publicly sharing within the comments on the social media platform that you're viewing. Those of you who are within the Zoom, save the chat so that you have everyone's contact info in one text file on your computer. Now, transitioning into our featured speaker of the evening. Ladies and gentlemen, this individual is an authorpreneur. He's a gentleman who has helped dozens of entrepreneurs take their ideas and through his 90-day self-publishing format, go from idea to execution and become a published author, which is one of the highest forms of credibility that exists. He is the host of BPM's longest running virtual event series that's known as Brand New. So he's in the history books in that way. He's also a very active speaker. He's a very active publisher and just all around community leader, advocate. I bring to the stage the Leroy Mckenzie Jr.
Oh, Shadi, thanks. I appreciate that introduction there, man. That's it's funny because you hear that when somebody introduces you, and it kind of it just it never ceases to amaze me when people talk about me. I still don't feel comfortable with it when people say that those things. So I appreciate that. But fellas, thank you so much for joining us this evening. I hope everybody can hear me okay, hear me clearly.
Can hear you.
Okay, good. Because I'm not going to be long tonight, because our topic tonight that we're talking about is going to be leadership. It's actually, I'm going to ask this question. I'm going to start it off by asking this question. Are you a leader? And I'm just going to give you these characteristics of what a leader is, just from my research and things that I've noticed, whether it's people that I consider to be leaders in my life, those mentors, or even those men that I look up to, or even not even specifically men, but women as well, that have been who I thought were great leaders to me, and what I believe they personified and what they had in those personality traits that they had, that I thought that that leaders have it within them. So I'm going to talk about those tonight, and then I'm going to sit down and we'll get into the rest of the evening. But leader, LEADER, is an acronym, and I'm going to talk about each of these. As you can see behind me, I don't know if you can see the full one, but it asks that question: are you a leader? But leader stands for, the L is for learning or listening, someone who learns and listens. The first E is to empower. I know that says execute, but it's to empower. The A stands for assist. The D stands for develop. The second E stands for execute. And then the R stands for results. These are, and I'm gonna go into these are what I believe are the characteristics of what makes a leader. And let's start with I'm gonna start with the L, which is learning and listening. We started off by talking about the book club. Someone who is a great leader is always listening, but they're always learning. That means they're reading books, they're reading articles, they may be reading or even listening to things that enrich them, that make them better. We started off this evening listening to Les Brown, great Les Brown. He is someone that I admire, and that is inspiring to me, because I've learned so much just by listening to him. Those things that he's taught us, not just in the leadership realm, but just in the other realms that he deals with. And then even from a book perspective, we have to understand that we should be in the mode of always learning. And the way that we learn is by consuming information. And we consume the majority of our information. We should be consuming information that we get within books. Books teach us so much, and they take us so much, and they also increase our vocabulary so much. I watched one time, they were talking about Warren Buffett. And they were saying that Warren Buffett spends about 70 to 75% of his time reading, whether it's reports, whether it's books, mainly books, whether it's newspaper articles. But he is so informed in what is going on, that he's able to make decisions. He's able to do the things that, when it comes to his business, from a business perspective, be able to be as informed as he can be. Now, can you imagine, and I believe he's in his late 80s or so, but the amount of reading that he's done over the years, if he's taken the 70 to 75% of his time reading, like we just talked about this evening, how much more information he's consumed than us and the average person. And I mentioned Pastor Miles Monroe read on average read about 60 books a year. That's 5 books a month. Now, if the average person is reading 1 a year and he's reading 60, how much more information has he consumed? So as a leader, you have to be willing to want to learn. You have to be able to want to learn information constantly and consistently, be learning information, because there's so much that we can always be taught. And I always say this, the smartest person in the room is the one that realizes that he or she doesn't know everything. When you understand that you don't know everything, then you're always in a learning mindset. You're always looking to learn more. So that's the L, is the listen and to learn. The E is empower. Empower actually means to equip. So I ask each of us tonight, because we're talking about leadership from the perspective of the family, career, and in the community. Who are you empowering? Who are you empowering in your family? Who are you equipping to be the next generation, or who are you equipping so that they can be able to handle and do the things that they do within the family? If it's your children, what are you equipping them with so that they can learn and be able to be strong men and women in our society? What are you equipping them with? What are you teaching them about the family structure? What are you teaching them about what it is to be a man? What are you teaching them about manhood? Are you having those conversations with your son? Are you having those important conversations with your daughter, so that she understands what it is to be she understands what it is to be a man, so that when she goes out to be involved with a young man, that she's able to know what to look for, that he should have those characteristics, the characteristic traits that will be most beneficial to her being in a relationship with. So who are you empowering in the family? Who are you empowering in your career? Are you in constantly and consistently within your career? Are you being equipped? And then who are you equipping? If you are an entrepreneur, which I know some of us are here, how are you equipping your employees to be able to move to the next level? Are you equipping someone to take over your organization once you're ready to retire? Who are you equipping in the career? And I don't know if everybody's familiar with him, but Ricky Vaughn, who ran for mayor here in Baltimore. I did a interview and had a conversation with him about his business, about his franchise and everything like that. And he talked about one of the things that he does within his business is he actually has a training program. And he said this. He said, if my employees spend 10 to 15 years with me, I'm not doing my job. I'm gonna say that again. He said, if my employees are doing 10 to 15 years with me, and he might have said a little longer, but he said, I'm not doing my job, because my job is to equip them to be able to move to their next level, to move from working for me to either making a bigger career level jump, or to be able to own their own businesses. And he actually has that implemented in his program, in his business that he runs. And I thought that was excellent. So who are you empowering? That's in your career. And then in the community, we're Black professional men. Our mission is to ensure the future of the African-American male. And we do that by equipping the next generation. We had men that did that for us. They equipped us for being in the positions that we are now. Well, we are now in the positions that they were in. We've become the teachers, we become the mentors, we become those that are pouring into others. And I liken it to, and I always say this everywhere that I go, I talk about it's the picture in the glass theory, which is where you may go to a restaurant and you sit down at the settings, and there's a glass at each setting. And they'll bring out a pitcher of water, of tea, of lemonade, whatever it is that they bring out, soda. But the pitcher is used to pour into the glasses. And sometimes we are the pitcher, and sometimes we're the glass. And sometimes we have to be the glass to get poured into, and then we become the pitchers that we can pour into. And I say we teach to learn, and we learn to teach. So that's what empowering and being empowered is all about. So how are you empowering someone as a leader? The A stands for assist. Who are you assisting? Who are you assisting? Whether it's your family, whether it's friends, whether it's your colleague or coworker, business associate, business partner. Who are you assisting? Are you there to be able to assist them, and even with your employees that you may have, or if you're a supervisor, manager, how do you assist them to become better? What do you do to make them better? Are you giving them instructions on how they can do things better? I'll keep saying it, and I know all of us know it, but the generation that's behind us needs us. They need us to be able to assist them, to understand this brotherhood, this manhood thing that we're going through, and that they're coming into as young men. And that's our mission, that's our challenge, is to ensure their future. And the only way that we ensure their future is by assisting in becoming who it is that they are. I need somebody to mute themselves. Somebody's off mute. The D is for development. How are you two things? How are you developing? And then who are you developing? How do you develop? We'll go into reading again. We're talking about reading. We're talking about the book club. What books are you reading to develop you? What new skill set have you taken on this year? And with the pandemic, some people have had to understand or had to take on a new skill set. What new skill set are you learning? What new skill set have you taken on so that you can raise your level of value? Leaders always do that. Leaders are always looking for ways to be able to increase and develop themselves, and then develop others. How are you developing others? Who are you developing to take on what it is that you're doing? Whether it's if you're an entrepreneur, you certainly want to be in the position where if something happens to you, God forbid, but there's someone that is able to take over your business, and it doesn't go away with you. So you want to develop them. I had a conversation the other day, or I was watching a conversation, watching a video of a business associate of mine, and she was talking about Famous Amos, with the Famous Amos cookies, and how he got railroaded or taken over by was it Nabisco, I believe it is, that brought him out. But he didn't have any, he gets no royalties, he gets absolutely nothing from something that he created, which was the Famous Amos cookies. I don't know how many of y'all are familiar with the Famous Amos cookies, but he developed something, but then he didn't develop someone to be able to take it over. And as a consequence, he lost it. So we want to make sure that we're developing not only ourselves, but what we develop is protected, but then we're developing someone else to take on what we've actually created, and that they will protect it. I can name you several other companies: Johnson & Johnson. I can name to you Black Enterprise, Essence Magazine, Jet, that's under, I believe, Johnson & Johnson. But these businesses that we grew up on and that we know, but we don't hear of them anymore. They're out there in some kind of time, some kind of way now, but nowhere near the presence that they had when we were growing up. Black enterprise was in everybody's household pretty much in our communities, because it was a way that we became connected with what was going on in business. So the development wasn't there for someone to take over once Mr. Graves passed away, once Mr. Johnson passed away with Ebony. So who are we developing to be able to do what it is that we do, or at least be equipped to, to understand and know how to sell the business that we may have, or to be able to be financially literate, be all of those things that equip us to be able to develop who we are, both personally and professionally. The second E, execute. Can you execute? Can you not only have a vision, but can you write the vision? And then can you implement the vision? I'm gonna give that to you again. First is, do you see the vision? You gotta see it. You gotta write it, which is developing the plan that you have for what it is that you want to do. And then the third part of that is implementation and execution. How do you execute? What are you executing as a family? What's your goal as a family? Do you have goals as a family that you want to achieve? Well, do you have that vision? Have you all talked about it? Have you talked about building that generational wealth that we should be having, or that we should have? Have you made a plan for it? Have you talked about a plan? And then are you able to execute that plan, put it into structure? I love it, and he's still here, Kendrick. I've talked about this ever since I heard you say it. You talked about having that 20-year business plan and being 11 years in on that with that business plan. That's phenomenal. How many of us can say that? We're at the end of 2021. We're closing out 2021. We have we've got about maybe like 50 something days left in 2021. And that's going to actually be our mastermind question. What are you building in 2022? How are you going to finish 2021 strong in these last several weeks that we have left? How are you going to finish strong? What goals do you have? What are you trying to finish up this year that you need to close out in to be able to finish strong? How can you execute so that you can finish out this year strong? What was your assignments or your goals at the beginning of this year, so that you can be better by the end of this year? Well, the end of the year is here now, so you can reflect back and look at the things that you've accomplished, things that you've done, things that you wanted to do that didn't get done, and understand why they didn't get done, and work on how you can still achieve them. And then close out the things that you want to close out for 2021, but then begin to put together the plan for 2022, and understand what it's going to take in order for you to be able to start 2022 off a certain way, but to be better by the end of 2022 than you were at the beginning of 2022. Because the goal is to be better by the end of the year than you were at the beginning of the year. So that's the E. And then the last one is the R, results. What results are you getting? And Hassan talks about this all the time, about getting the results. What results are you getting? And you only get the results when you have a vision, when you make the plan, and you implement that plan. That's the only way that you can get results. So whether it's in your family, getting those results, whether it's in your career, what is your career? What do you want to do career-wise? If you're an entrepreneur, what's your next level? How do you plan on getting to that next level? If you are a career person, how do you get to that next level that you want to get to? What is it that you need to do? You can't do it just sitting around and not thinking about it. You can't do it just being complacent and being comfortable. My motto for this year was to leave the familiar to elevate your influence. You can't elevate your influence being in the same position that you were at the end of this year than you were at the beginning of the year. You only elevate your influence by being comfortable with being uncomfortable, doing those things that you aren't used to doing, being in those places that you aren't used to being in, and taking those opportunities that come along that might scare you because you think, oh, I'm not ready for this, or this moment is too big for me. You always want to make sure that the moments that you encounter, that even if they may seem too big for you, that you have a fear mentality. And when I say fear, I'm not talking about false evidence appearing real. I'm talking about facing every assignment relentlessly. That's what it's about. That's what 2022 has been about. 2021 has been about. That's what 2022 has been about, is going to be about. It's facing every assignment relentlessly. That's what we're called to do as Black professional men. That's what we're called to do as men. That's what we're called to be. It's called to do as leaders. That's what we're called to do as head of businesses. That's what we're called to do as head of households. That's what we're called to do, to be head of our community. Our communities are only as strong as we are as leaders. That means we have to be willing to learn and listen. That means we have to be willing to empower. We have to be willing to assist. We have to be willing to develop. We have to be willing to execute, and we have to be willing to get the results. That's what being a leader is. That's what BPM is. We're about getting the results. And the only way we get results is if we do these other things. If we learn, empower, assist, develop, execute. That gives us the results. So my name is Leroy Mckenzie Jr. I'm the impact builder. And Shadid, I'm gonna turn the mic back over to you really quick.
Okay, let's open the floor for any questions for Leroy on the topic he just delivered. Do you have any questions? Unmute yourself, please.
I have a question. So, Leroy, you gave 2 acronyms for fears. So I got the second one, but I kind of missed the first one. So I know you said that's the one that we shouldn't have, but if you can repeat that for me.
Sure, that one is, they said false evidence appearing real. That's the one that I've heard most people say that one, but I came up with my own acronym, which was the face every assignment relentlessly.
Okay, I have a question. Based on, now we all know the great leaders of yesterday, whether it's Les Brown, in some cases, some people may say Colin Powell. Right. We all have our classic list. Let's look at what leaders in tomorrow's generation, or someone who may be on the rise that you've seen that has those ingredients, that leadership qualities that kind of say that person is going to be one of the greats someday.
Wow. You got me thinking now, Shadid. And I'm trying to think of someone, the ones that I think of when it comes to leadership or encapsulates these characteristics are folks that I listen to. One is, I call him my mentor. He's actually, it's funny because he's actually younger than me. His name is Dr. Will Moreland. But he's an author, speaker, just phenomenal guy that encapsulate all of these. And I listen to him, watch him all the time. But he is someone that I think about. He's a leader for the community. This is a young man, and he's, I think, 42, 43 now. But from Compton, California, former gangbanger, and is now a global international speaker, multi-millionaire, just doing some great things. If you look him up, he is just he's doing some great things. And I often post his videos because of what he gives me, personalizing it. Just from a business perspective and from a personal perspective, what he talks about. So I think about him. I think about Eric Thomas. who I listen to all the time as well. These are what I call leaders, and then even I guess as far as the older generation, I know you asked for the younger one because I just listened to him, Dr. George Frazier. I love listening to Dr. George Frazier, who is, who is someone is just phenomenal when it comes to someone that I admire, that I take notes on, I listen to, and try and learn from. Even locally, when I think about folks, honestly, Shadid, I think about you. I think of you. I think about Brian Olds. I think about her name is Cheryl Woods. That are just folks that are doing. I mean, in the trenches, doing this stuff, doing what I call leadership every day. It doesn't have to me. It doesn't matter if you're on a national or local platform, but having just someone that's an influence that impacts other people's lives, and that's what I see when I think of when I think of these people that are just everybody that are just listed. I mean there are more as well, but those are ones that certainly come to my mind when I think about leadership in this 21st century and moving us forward and then preparing that next generation for becoming leaders because they need it. Whew, they need it.
Yes, sir. Thank you for that, Leroy. Dr. Will inspires me to write more books.
I know, right?
That's the one thing I can get from Pastor Eric Thomas. His videos helped me through one of the toughest years of my life, where I lived on the road on a project. I was living in hotels, flying back and forth every weekend for an entire year. Terrible. Eric, no Eric Thomas slander is allowed in my presence. That man helped me through a tough time. And so Rashad has his hand raised, so please unmute yourself and take it away.
Sure. So one of the things that I've noticed about the younger generation these days is they haven't had or seen what a lot of true leadership looks like. And so my question for you, Leroy, is in working with young folks, how do you inspire them? Your learned thought process was great, but just trying to find a way to inspire that younger generation. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. And I think that's one of the key things that you talk about is how do we connect with them? Inspiration, I think, comes through connecting with them, understanding. And I always just think about me growing up. How did I connect with those that were ahead of me, and what can I do that's similar to them, and that maybe have to be done in a different way, because we live in this technological time right now where it might be something that we can, where we see them using TikTok, or we see them using technology in some kind of way, and we use that as a connector. I know Kendrick uses DJing music as a way to inspire that next generation. We have to first listen, because if we listen, we'll find out what they are, what influences them. We'll be able to understand how we can connect with them. And if that means we have to learn about what it is that they're into, then we do that, because I think that allows us to be able to connect with them more. And then they'll be more apt to listen to us, because it's coming from not a I know more than you do, listen to me, but it comes from I'm pouring something into you. I'm taking time to hear your voice. And I think that's what a lot of the younger generation, they just want to be heard. They want to know that we're listening to them, that we hear them. And I think when we do that, when we allow them to know and understand that we're hearing them and that we're listening to them, I think that's what gets that connection going, and will inspire them to inspire them to do what it is that they do.
the point of let's say youth leadership, I think it's important to realize the that many of our youth were raised differently in that the mode of entertainment uh, is and was heavily influenced by hip hop culture. Our youth are the descendants, the children of a show me first era where success is more outward, where in previous generations it was based on character and morals and discipline, and that was a form of leadership. In today's generation, when you think about the Puffy Combs of the world and the Master P's of the world, these are the cash monies of the world. Whereas my success is outward, and you look at how social media, especially platforms such as Instagram, where your success must be shown, not low key. That's where we understand how to reach the youth, and so you have to outwardly show in order to reach many young people. If you, let's say, drive a certain car, and you can be multi-millionaire, but from it would take some time to break through to many youth today because they need to see it first. And we have to understand those influences and how powerful they are, because that's the programming that many of millions of our youth, the future of our community, subscribe to.
Yeah. And Malcolm X said this years ago, that the media is the most powerful tool that we have, and it's become, like you just said, should be an instant gratification for a lot of the younger generation. Our generation, we've had the benefit of being a part of both, kind of pre-technology, and then now what we have, this advanced technology that we use. So it's important that we guide the next generation in how to adequately use technology and to use, the gifts that they have. This generation is so much, I think, so much more gifted than we were. I mean, you got 5-year-olds that could probably run a Zoom, that know how to, that can put stuff together on a TikTok, put a video together, splice up a video, edit a video and everything like that. Their skill set is so much further than ours, because this is all that they know. All they know is technology. They don't know anything prior to, having a smartphone. You ask them what's a flip phone? They're actually bringing the flip phones back. I saw, updated or whatever. But this is all that they know. All they know is the technology world that we live in. So this is what they're growing up to be able to do. So we connect with them that way, using technology, but not letting the other aspect of the personal stuff go to the wayside. So I think when we do that, I think we adequately prepare the next generation of leaders to be leaders.
Yes, Hassan, take it away.
So I think that our generation is probably making the same assumption as the generations that judged our generation as youth, right? And, this conversation has me thinking about The Wire and how there was the corner kids and the stoop kids, right? And, there's youth that want to get it right. And there's youth that feels they already know what's right. And for those who feel like they know what's right, those are the show me, right? Those are the ones that would say, okay, the whole tip of the iceberg. He has a nice car. I want to get a nice car. He doesn't understand that, what it takes to get a nice car, right? Or even how to maintain a nice car. Like, I didn't know for a BMW, you can't, when you use the key fob and the battery in the key fob goes out, you gotta buy a whole new key.
Yep.
Like $500.
Yep.
I'm like, really? Like, it's $2 at the store, the battery. But I mean, I say that because the stoop kids would know that. The corner kids will only see that somebody's driving it and they just need to do what they gotta do to be able to drive it. And I'm not sure which kid I was, but I knew everything when I was a kid, right? You couldn't tell me anything. And, you know, somebody used to tell me, well, hey, yeah, go bump your head. I'll be here when you get back. And I feel like, you know, that's the one thing that we have to allow these young kids to be able to do in a safe environment, but to bump their heads and let them have the vulnerability to come back and let them know when they come back, there's no judgment. There's no, you know, we're not saying what they did wrong. We're just trying to re-guide them. And then they will go and bump their head again and come back. The key difference in that will be they done bumped it in a different place. And then now, you know, they're getting stronger. They're gaining more experiences. Their confidence is getting better. And I feel like that's one of the main differences is that we forget that regardless of, you know, what they like, social media or whatever, all kids, there's still two kinds of kids, either kids who get it and want to get it right, or there's kids who know everything. And is, you know, a lot of times those kids who know everything are the kids who we feel needs the most attention. That's my thought.
No, yeah, I totally agree with you about that song. That generation that's coming up behind us I think they're hungry for information. I think they want to be able to experience the things that they want to experience out there. And sometimes there are gonna be things that you can't, they're gonna have to bump their head, like you said, you know. But I think it's our responsibility to be able to limit the number of bumps that they have to take on their head, you know, so to speak, so that they aren't constantly and consistently bumping their heads. That they do. I mean, like you said, I think most of us, you know, in our teens and 20s, you couldn't tell us nothing. None of us. You know, it was like, yeah, we did know everything. We thought we knew everything. But as we got older, you know, we found out that there was so much more that we had to learn. And I always think about this. Years ago, I was I was at a conference, and we were on the bus going, men's conference, and we were on a bus to one of the workshops. And it was a bunch of us who were older and younger men on there. And there was this young guy, he's just running down through his mouth. And one of the older gentlemen said, son, let me tell you something. He said, where you're going, I've already been. And that has always stuck with me, because it taught me that the steps that he had already taken, I have yet to take. And it would behoove me to listen to him in taking the steps that I'm going to take, so that I don't have to run into bumping my head as many times as I would if I didn't listen to him. So you're absolutely right, Hassan, that we're going to bump our heads. There are going to be things that we just got to learn, you know. But us as the now generation, as I call us, we equip that next generation to be able to, you know, yeah, they got the bumps and bruising, like you said, we're there for them when they come back, or when they go and think that they know it all, and they find out that they don't. And we give them the guidance of, hey, like one of my friends said before, he said, I ain't gonna tell you what to do. And he said, I'm not gonna tell you what to do. I'm gonna tell you what needs to be done. I was like, yeah, I like that. So
excellent, excellent points. And so once again, that was Leroy Mckenzie Jr. with our featured presentation of the month. Now, transitioning on to our member spotlight, BPM, I always like to say that there's literally no person, no cause that you cannot connect to through the network. And so when we focus on the network, oftentimes the individual stories, successes, and projects often get lost in the shuffle. So our featured member spotlight is the opportunity to check in with a member and find out what they're working on and learn more about them. So I'd like to bring to the stage Derek, and please introduce yourself and tell us more about what you have in motion, and take it away.
Hello, my name is Derek Ireland. New to BPM, obviously. Brother Troy brought me in. I've been working with Hassan on the project. Single mother, Prince Hall Mason from Baltimore. My goal is to accomplish, I wanted to be able to open a single mother, an organization with single mothers, with children. I'm sorry, it sounds crazy. Just to help some young boys become men, responsible men. I think it's important to, when you leave this earth, you leave it better. And it's up to us to really just turn things around and take some of those children and make a difference. I also want to open up a CDL training academy. I want to provide a platform to allow people to use their license to advance their livelihood. I have 25 years of experience, logistics and driving. I've been all over the country, east of the Mississippi. And that's, just want to build better relationship, get around some good brothers, get some good knowledge, and continue on.
Okay, so welcome to the organization. And round of applause for Derek. Now, Hassan, you've been working with Derek, as he mentioned. Any words you want to share about Derek, our new member?
Yes. Derek he has an amazing spirit. And I feel like what Derek is doing is what a lot of brothers are feeling. And so what I've gone on to learn about Derek, he has a lot of courage. So he's not afraid to say what he doesn't know. He's not afraid to say what he needs to learn. And by doing that, he's able to learn, he's able to gain, access to things. He's willing to show a level of vulnerability in an environment that is nurturing. And it's very encouraging.
Excellent. So welcome to Black Professional Men, Derek.
Thank you.
Now we are going to transition into the mastermind segment for the evening. And our topic for the evening is, what are you building and or planning for 2022? With the mastermind segment, mastermind is a collection of knowledge, tips, and resources to help each individual through collective wisdom. So typically how it works is someone brings a challenge or scenario, and we go down the line with each person, each attendee of our meeting, to provide perspective. Now, for the sake of time, it's not a rebuttal where each person who gives advice, you give a comment. You take the advice down the line, listen, take your notes, and at the end, you can share your collective feedback. Now, is there anyone, and we'll take one scenario. Do we want to, Hassan, you want to start with Derek with the ideas that he has in motion?
Yeah, let's use Derek.
All right. So
Now,
So
I have to warn everybody. What you're about to experience is the power of our network.
okay, so Derek, let's take the organization that targets single moms, for example. And so, when it comes to building this organization and or planning it, what would you say is your biggest challenge that you're facing so far?
My biggest challenge, I would think, is being new, going after something new on the ground. Don't really know where to start at.
Okay, so this is finding opportunities. This is planning, and you know what the roadmap is. So we're going to go down the line alphabetically. We're going to start with Christopher Dews. So unmute yourself and give your tip, strategy, or resource to help Brother Derek along. So we're going to go Christopher, Cornell, and then Fred. So make sure, keep that in mind. So please take it away. Hold on, there's some challenges with audio.
No, I think it's still muted or something.
Okay, so
Hold up.
Hello?
You can probably hear me now, can't you?
Yes, perfect.
All right, yeah, I figured out what happened there. Sorry about that. Double
No
muted.
worries.
All
Take it
right,
away.
so yeah, really easily. I would just say to Derek, there is already a group called the Center for Urban Families that does a lot of good fatherhood work. I would just, by all means, do what you got to do. But I would simply say getting connections with the people that are already leaning in that direction or doing that work and see what, as Shakespeare used to say, talent borrows, but genius steals. To just work with the people who are already in that capacity. And I will just say the Center for Urban Families in Baltimore, Maryland is a great group that I've worked with previously on trying to change child support legislation. So I have their contact information. I would love for you to reach out to them and try to take what you can from their programming. That's all.
Okay, Christopher, can you please send a direct message to Derek with any resources that he can utilize to take that step forward? Okay,
Absolutely.
on to you, Mr. Cornell Smith. Take it away.
All right. So, Derek, since you said, well, from what Hassan said, you're a straight shooter, and I'm also a Mason brother. So I would like to challenge you to go back because I know it's a meeting, but I didn't hear you kind of share, unless I missed it, why you actually want to help the single moms. I mean, I know they need help, and that's evident, but I would share a little bit more of what your either experience is, whether you were raised by a single mom or kind of getting to the root of that to be able to help you better. So kind of getting your story together and sharing that, I think will be a good first step, because as people hear that, you know, they will gravitate towards you, and that energy will kind of, I think, you know, build as you share that.
Okay.
Okay, excellent. Okay, so you got a whole I know, Derek, that when you get all this good information, you want to comment, reply, you know, praise and shout, but you got to hold it to the end. Hold it to the end. And right now, you just got to take notes and just be a sponge right now. Okay, transitioning over to Fred Brandon.
All right, Derek. You wasn't here when I kind of introduced myself, but I've been in the Microsoft space for a little while, just knowing the ins and outs. So I think once you start to think about your business structure, if you are deciding to lean into this being a nonprofit, there are a lot of opportunities for that infrastructure that you're going to build. So whether you're going to have that Microsoft Office 365 background infrastructure to be able to, help your organization grow and organize things, there are a lot of free resources for first, nonprofits. If you have a nonprofit, there's some excellent resources through Microsoft Office 365 that will help you start to help build that infrastructure for your, for the back, for your back office. Or there are also opportunities for, minority programs too. So either way, you can attack that two different ways to be able to have access to some of those resources.
Excellent, excellent. Now, we're going to transition over to John Harris, Kendrick, followed by Leroy again. Derek is starting this out, so there's some planning, there's some roadmap considerations, and finding opportunities as a startup for an organization with the mission of supporting single mothers. John, take it away, please.
All right, good evening. Thank you for the time. So I would say start off, and I think someone already kind of mentioned this, be in the spaces that people are already doing the work. Connect yourself with a network of people that are doing what you're doing. I don't know who said the quote, but essentially it was, you can get everything you want if you help enough people get what they want. So find those people that need support. Learn from them as you grow your thoughts and ideas and how to do it better. Because while you help them, you're helping yourself. You're gaining experience, knowledge, exposure, and network. So find some people to help. Find out where you can go. I know that one place specifically that kind of touches on the idea that you're working with is the Cube over on Harvard Road. It's a shared workspace that focuses on providing childcare for entrepreneur women, single mothers out there so that they can come work their business and have childcare on site at the same time. So find those types of spaces like the Cube and pursue helping other people so that they can have confidence, and someone did mention this, and you helping them.
And my apologies, Hassan. I understand now that H does come before J, but in this case, we're going to go with P for president in the alphabetical situation. So you go after Milan. So
Stop tripping, Hassan. You go last. You have that privilege as the president. You get to have the last word.
Don't blame the head, not the heart. Blame the head, not the heart. Yeah. So, all right. So we left off at John. Kendrick, take it away, please.
Absolutely. I was going to actually say that there's an organization called Martha's Place. All of the organizations that, like John said, and I think it was Christopher that started it, that to partner with them. Look at yourself as a strategic partner, and look at Black professional men as your organization that you can do things right now, because we're here to ensure the future of the African American male, and that still means you. So you can actually have a grant written for Black professional men. You can already align with the strategic partners that we've just mentioned right now in real time and do some work before you even create the framework, so you can find out what works. So you can test quick, fail, and figure out that don't work. We're not going to do that on our dime, because we still want to ensure the future of the African American male, and it's in line with our mission. And so think of it from that perspective, so you don't wait. Done beats perfect 10 times out of 10. So you want to get things started, test quick, fail, okay, or work, add that, and keep that to plan the work and work the plan as you develop whatever you decide to develop, whether it's for profit or nonprofit.
Okay. Transition over to Leroy, followed by Brother Milan, and then President Hassan.
No, all of the information that's been given tonight, Derek, is great, and I'll just add this. I'll just add this to what has been said already. But I want you to do your research first, understand the industry, and what the need is, because you're solving a problem. Ask yourself, what problem am I solving? And then where are those individuals that have that particular problem, like everybody's been saying, where you can go to utilize and find out where that targeted market is. But having your vision, doing the research, having a clear vision of what it is that you do. Like I was saying, you got to see it, write it, and then work it. And the see it is the vision. What vision do you have for your for the business that you're going into? The purpose. What's the purpose of it? What are you, that problem that you're solving? and then your brand. And what I mean by your brand is, what are the three things that you want people to think about when they think about your business? Like for my particular business, it's to enlighten, empower, and impact. Teach you something, equip you with something, and then impact you to want to do something. When you go in already having those answers and you have the research, then you know, hey, okay, whenever you talk to anybody, whether it's a strategic partner like Kendrick was saying, or whether it's a woman who is in need of something, you can tell them succinctly, distinctly, this is what we can do for you. This is the problem. This is how we are able. This is how we're able to assist you in solving the problem that you have, or be the answer to the problem that you have, or this is the particular answer that we solve that we see that you may have. I think if you do that, I can't stress enough the importance of research, understanding the industry that you're in, and knowing where it is, where it was, where it is, and then where it's going going in the future, and then how you can develop that plan to be able to be the answer to that problem that you solve.
Son. Oh, excuse me. Wait a minute. Hold on. Wait. It's P, President. So Milan, please. Would it be Brother Milan? So B. But Milan, please take it away.
Peace and blessings. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
All right, all right. Now you guys have to forgive me. I was kind of dealing with a lot of Roman parts, but just from taking it away, you just mean kind of explain what I bring to the table, right?
Oh no, this is the mastermind session. And so Brother Derek, he has a scenario where he's launching an organization. He's in the startup phase, the planning phase, and the organization targets the growth development of single mothers. And so we're going down a line where each brother gives their insight, their tip, their resource in order to help Brother Derek along his path.
I love that. Okay, all right. So my insight on single mothers, from what I've seen running a homeschool program, is kind of the need for positive masculine energy to be around. I think that's something that crowd needs from a Black professional man kind of vibe. They need us to be structured, organized, and to get in with the youth in a way to be kind of like father figures to them and set them on their feet early. My tip on that is all kind of in the approach of knowing who to market it to and addressing the program in a way that will show the parents exactly what you're offering. I think a lot of them are a lot more open in conversation than we think. And my tip is to make sure that, I guess, the consistency is something I've seen ruin a lot of programs out here as well. And so getting them in the door is only the first part of the conversation. A lot of youth at that age develop dependencies very quickly. It really unpacks a lot of emotional, things from them. And in situations where they don't see those said mentors again, they begin to become closed off to society. So my tip on that is to just whomever is moving with you to make sure that we are invested in the vision that you have on reaching these single parents, and are in it for the long haul. But yeah, I love from what I hear. I love that vision.
Yes. And so for those of you, before we transition to Hassan, you're tuning into the BPM Mastermind segment. And we have Brother Derek on the hot seat sharing his new venture. And we're going down the line and giving a tip, tool, resource. If you've been taking notes, you should have close to a page of resources that you, if you're starting your business, this is planning season for 2022, can use to grow your business. And so all of you who have shared tips, please either post them in the chat or send them directly to Derek to help him along. And with that, we transition over to Hassan, take it away.
Thank you. Thank you. So I feel that, as I feel with everything, everything is surrounded around goals. You need to understand what are the goals of single mothers, and what they want to be able to accomplish. Because I guarantee you, their goals are going to be different than what we think their goals should be. So we know that there's a different goal if the single parent has a corner kid versus they have a stoop kid. You know, there's a difference if they have a latchkey, you know, if it's a latchkey kid and a kid can come up from school, unlock the door, go home and stay out of trouble. There's different things that that parent may be looking for compared to the kid who don't make it home. And, you know, the parent is constantly having to get that child out of trouble. So I would say that would be the first thing you want to do, is to find out, you know, what are maybe the top 3, top 5 goals. And then from there, align those goals up with who's in the business of facilitating those goals. And tic-tac-toe.
Okay. Rashad, please unmute yourself and share your tip, strategy, tool, technique for Derek to succeed.
Sure. So my strategy or tip probably would be, it's a little hard, but take daily notes. I think one of the things that we often have great thoughts, great ideas and ideals, but are they written down? I know I read somewhere one time, things that are written down, your goals and your aspirations or ambitions that are written down are 10 times more likely to be achieved, because you've taken time to get the thought out of your mind and put it to paper where you can come back and review it. So my piece of knowledge for you tonight is make sure that it's written down and detailed as possible. Don't just say, oh, I want to, you know, when I talk to business owners and nonprofits, oh, we want to raise $100,000. How, where, and how do you plan to accomplish that? So when you're writing down what you're trying to do, make sure that it's as explicit as possible, so that you're able to come back a year from now and say, dang, I was thinking about that, but I read 5 books or I attended a couple book club meetings, and I not only saw it, I'm able to, you know, you're able to think, your thoughts will be so much further next year than where they are today. But that's only because you decided to write them down, and it's also keeping you accountable and honest about what you're trying to do.
Excellent insight. Now I'm going to take it home. Brother Derek, let me talk to you for a second. Pull up a seat. Okay, so you need to understand the business of passion. So what you're doing is a passion that may be motivated by upbringing, a gap that you've seen systemically, or just the willingness to improve the current situation for single moms. And oftentimes, passion-based businesses that operate from a heart-centered perspective, lack the business fundamentals that ultimately cause them to go out of business. So what I need you to do is understand how business actually runs. And so the beautiful thing is that you're within the greater Maryland area. And what I need you to understand is the fundamentals of funding as well as business credit. One thing I did not know with funding opportunities, for example, is separating your personal expenses from your business growth, meaning during this particular time in history, business has more opportunity for funding. So you can go into a bank and ask for a personal loan, versus going into the bank and obtaining business funding or to a non-traditional lending institution. That institution will give you up to 10 times more than even if you had excellent credit. And so businesses are an excellent, let's say, shelter to grow. And the reason why most businesses go out of business is due to lack of access to capital. Next, I want you to look into your MBE certification. Here's what you got to know. The state of Maryland, the MBE program is the model for other states. So they took the MBE program here and used it as the template to build around the country. What a lot of people don't know is that every first Tuesday of the month, you can go to MDOT and the people who approve the applications for MBE will walk you through the entire process. And you also get the opportunity to sit down with them one-on-one. This has been going on for years. And so when you are within the MBE database, in order to receive funding, there's a certain agreement that you must, especially as a prime contractor, at this particular point in the year, there are set-asides for minority businesses. So in order, they have to hire those businesses within that database. So just by being in a database, you catch opportunities left and right. It's like you're a punt returner. And so these are things that is free to apply for your MBE. And there's numerous resources within Maryland that will help you. Again, first Tuesday of every month, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And you can log right on to Zoom and take that training and go for that. As far as action items, I would join the Greater Baltimore Black Chamber of Commerce. Excellent resources, training, and opportunities, and you get to network with other people who may be a little bit further ahead and kind of learn some of the mistakes that they've made. I would also join the BPM Book Club and participate because each month there's a new book on business. And when you're able to discuss a book with other people, the book comes to life because you can apply it to your situation. As far as business plan and resources, you have score.org, you have SBDC that all have, and you also have SBA, which are free resources that will allow you to dive deeper into the business planning process. So don't think about this as, well, Derek saves the world. Think about it as, I'm going to build a business that's going to last beyond my natural years. And in order to do that, it takes a team, it takes a vision, and you should not be the smartest person architecting that vision. That is all I have to say. Now, I'm going to, thank you very much. Thank you very much. Now we're going to unmute for a second and allow you to take a minute or two in order to share your feedback on the feedback that you just received from all these bright and talented brothers. Take it away, Derek.
Thank you again. I wrote down a bunch of notes, put some stars by people's names, so I'm definitely going to be reaching out. So much to take in right now. I wasn't expecting some of the feedback. I'm a little short of words right now, but basically I have to do my research. And I have to continue on and come up with a plan and detail it and write it down. Yeah, I'm a little short of words right now. And I'm just looking at the notes and stuff. So, I mean, I appreciate everybody's time. Definitely. I definitely want to reach out to everybody just to get a personal relationship or get some things I may have overheard. I mean, I didn't hear, but maybe we can have this conversation again, one-on-one, if possible.
That's the name of the game. Is you gotta bring it into the real world, and that's important. So again, if you have not entered your contact information in the chat, this is the chance to do so, so that you can connect with others. That could be your website, that could be your email, that could be your LinkedIn. Don't just say like John Smith, you know, in your phone number. You put a little description in there so that people can connect with you, because after this meeting, life gets in the way and people are busy. Now we're going to transition for the last portion of this program to brief committee updates. So I don't want to put anybody on the spot here. So I'm going to give you a minute. If you are a committee chair and you don't have about 60 seconds to talk about, you could just send a message and let me know what's going on. So I don't, just take a moment.
Can we can I just quarterback it as I touched on their point? If they can speak to it, I can let them have the floor. If they can't, I can just cover it then.
Okay, that's how we'll do it. So we will start this thing off with partnerships, because let me tell you, partnerships is the most consistent thing going today. Those reports are coming in right on time. And I say that to encourage the brothers to just take the template and copy it and get those reports in, because it allows each committee member to understand what's going on here. So in the world of partnerships, there's a few things here. So we have the Black Love Expo is currently going through formalizing the partnership process. There's some details and works in terms of event planning with the lead, Amanda Waller, who has done previous expos with the organization. We also have the Food Truck Project, and that's a big initiative where we have 3 members going through our partnership process. We have Jennifer from CASA, Baltimore. We'd like to welcome Tyshawn Ryan, who is now handling the scheduling and planning of BPM social media team. Be on the lookout for the partnership newsletter, which is one of the first initiatives that Tyshawn is working on. Proud to partner with the great State Farm Insurance and Anthony going through the process as well. And we also welcome Venetia Love to the internal team and the executive committee. Now, for our partnership discovery form, this is for individuals who, from the executive team, who have discussions with business leaders, influencers in the community. They now have the ability to capture the information so that when it's handed off for the partnership process, nothing gets lost. So if you have any questions about the form or how to utilize it, you can always send an email to partnerships@bpminc.org. That is the partnership report. And so we'll transition over to youth development. Cornell, do you have any words to share about youth development? Any updates at this time? And if not, then Hassan, back him up.
Well, your partnership report was so eloquent. You know, I got distracted from my 60 seconds of prep time. But
trying to buy you some time.
Yeah, I know. It's all good. So I'll just kind of touch on what we're doing, and Hassan can back me up. So for youth development, we try to make sure that we do a quarterly event, and I guess I'll say a quarterly focus. We actually do monthly events. So right now, the big thing coming up is Thanksgiving. We did our Halloween pizza party for the kids. So we got Thanksgiving coming up and Christmas. So in that, we're going to be fundraising and making sure that we can provide food for families for Thanksgiving, toys for kids, and also coats. You know, we will partner with other organizations and other groups to make that happen. And it's not just for kids, but as far as youth development is concerned, that's our part of it. So Hassan, feel free to add to that.
All right. So I'm gonna put the link for people to donate in the chat. So we are doing a toy drive with one of our long-standing partners. We've been doing this initiative for about 7 years. And this is a partnership that we do to help men who are rebuilding their lives and help their kids have a Christmas. And then as a result, the support is genuinely so overwhelming that we're able to have spillover and help about, this partner is able to help about 100+ kids. So anybody who wants to contribute to our efforts to help them, by all means, you can click on the donate link that I just posted and you can do that. We also have our financial literacy tour that is going on at schools now. We also have our after school program, which is in development, and open enrollment is available for students for parents to start to enroll their kids. So we're going to be able to help youth. Now, this is not for young boys or young girls. This is for young youth. And I say that word deliberately. We want to help the youth get to where they need to be. I believe we are working with 5th graders. I could be wrong, but last I checked, we were working with 5th graders. And this is going to be at the Leonard E. Hicks Community Center next to Coppin.
Okay. Now let's transition over to our treasurer for treasurer's report. Rashad, please take it away.
Sure. So I'm happy to report that our financials are safe and stable. We're in a healthy position. We will begin sending out invoices for the next calendar year to members of BPM so that they can send in or choose to opt into either a monthly, quarterly, or annual payment of their dues. There's also option B, in which member can raise $500 or more to cover their dues by bringing in sponsorship opportunities and or selling tickets to a BPM sponsored event or event. That kind. Forgive me, Hassan or Shadid. I'm probably leaving out something, so you may need to ask me another question.
All right. So thank you, and you covered a great deal of information there, right? So as a reminder, 50% of your dues goes towards our scholarship fund. And this year, we are going to have at least 20 scholars. So if everybody can do the math of how many people we need to pay dues, if you need help with that arithmetic, I'm available. 25% goes to our program. So when we talk about what youth development do, when we talk about what economic development does in the community, that's where that money comes from. And then the other 25% goes to our operations. So when we talk about where we meet at, when we talk about having the administrative staff to schedule social media, to do our marketing, to create programs, this is where that funding comes from. So we are self-funded, and we're funded by you. We're funded by the men who want to ensure their futures and the futures of other males throughout, other Black males throughout our community. When do we have the next scholarship payments due? You're on mute.
Those are basically to be paid out in December. So a month.
December, okay. All right.
Okay, so those are our committee reports, gives you insight into some of the inner workings of the organization. And last but not least, we would transition into our president's report and close things out for the evening.
All right. So we had a meeting the other day, and Kendrick made a comment that it feels like we're in a full-on sprint. And one of the beautiful things that I had to remind Kendrick is that the model that we used together to kind of kick off the strategy was a crawl, walk, run approach. And we are in that 6th year of that strategy, which means we are in the run. So for our concepts to be at the maturity level where it feels like we're in an all-out sprint means that we're right on track. And so 2022 is the year where everybody can get to where they want to be, if they want to be there. And what we want to do as an organization is we want to be able to not tell you to come up to the mountaintop because a person is there. We want to provide you with the path to get to the mountaintop. So we are working with men and males who want to highlight the path they're taking to success so that we can allow others to travel those same steps. Now, everything that we have done stems from somebody's goal. That means everything we're doing this year is going to stem from somebody's goal. The only difference, we would like to be able to highlight that process so that people can understand the steps you need to take. Because it is easy to say, hey, you need to make more money. Hey, you need to apply for this particular loan. Hey, you need to, do these particular things. But the steps you need to be able to do that. Just for instance, me and my wife would just have the privilege of closing on a brick and mortar for our donut business. And one of the steps we had to do was we had to call on Rashad to do our financials so that we can provide that to the landlord, right? Now, that same packet, we was easily able to use that same packet to apply for other financial funding. So it's short things like that. Now, because Rashad is our CPA and he keeps our records in such a specific way, it wasn't hard for him to assemble everything because he already had it. So what is that? What am I sharing when I say that? I'm sharing that if you're going to have a business, you're going to have the right tools. You're going to have the right team. And if you have the right team when situations occur, those tools and teams will be able to work for you. And that's one of the examples. Now, we want everybody to understand that we expect people to have a personal goal, maybe a professional goal, and a community goal. And each of those goals, we would like for you to share with us. And we would like to be able to align others with those goals. So like I have a mentee, right? Tavante, right? He's me and my wife joke around because, she always says like we can't fire him, even though if he wasn't my mentee, he would probably been fired like 67 times. But the growth he is showing is one of those things. And it's easy to say, hey, we can't work with you, but that's what so many people do with us, right? So for every time he bump his head, we're able to have that conversation and we're able to say, hey, this is what you need to do more of. This is what you need to do less of, right? And just today, he was able to come back with an amazing opportunity for blindness, right? And I know that had we not have made that investment in that young man, he wouldn't have the confidence to go out and do those particular things, which he's going to be able to use those same skills for himself. And so this is what Black professional men is all about. And this is what we do all day, every day. It's just that we don't always have people to be vulnerable so other people can see that outcome. So that's what we're working on in 2022, is creating the paths of success. On kind of turning the page real quick, on November 21st, we're going to have our first members meet and greet. It's going to be safe. We're going to use social distancing. We're going to use masks for all those individuals who fit in those necessary criteria that need that extra layer of protection. And this is an opportunity, and we also have the opportunity for people to be able to Zoom in. But we're going to have a light fair. Brothers are going to be able, and partners are going to be able to enjoy the game. And during halftime, we're going to have a presentation by Marcel Russell. I know a lot of you remember who he is. Making Money Make Sense. And he's going to be able to provide a presentation. We also will have a silent auction to use Black professional men resources. What does that mean? That means that we have a lot of resources that brothers are just not using. And we're going to have those resources or information about those resources on the page, like a silent auction. And the only way you can secure those resources is by making a pledge of community service hours. So the tools will be there. The tools are available. And it's all about how many community service hours are you willing to do to be able to get the tools and resources you need. Okay. And you know, what do I mean by that? You know, how good are these resources, right? You know, Troy Mobley has been an advocate of Zoho. And we have a Zoho account, but because we use Zoho, I've gotten Zoho for Blondie's Donuts. And I just secured a admin for Zoho. And so now we're going to be able to integrate to have all of our custom orders, all of our food truck appointments to go through this workflow. Whereas that every time an order is submitted, we're going to be able to automatically generate a contract. It's going to be able to be sent to the user, the requester. The requester is going to be able to sign it. Once they sign it, they're going to be able to receive an invoice. Once we receive the invoices paid, then it's going to be able to go on a central calendar so we can be able to know where we are, where we're going. And then we're going to be able to use that information to be able to manage our human capital so we can know how many workers we're going to need for each particular week. Then from there, we're going to be able to determine by each item that is sold how many ingredients were used in each of those items. And at the end of every week, we're going to be able to hit a report to say what we got to go and buy to replace those resources. And that's going to save about 15 to 20 hours of work and even, you know, a few positions to make the company that more efficient. And all that is because that resource came from Black professional men.
Okay, that was our president's report. You've been tuning in to the Black Professional Men General Body Meeting. I want to thank National Black Unity News, the Speakers Lounge, Brothers to Greatness. And for streaming this session this evening, go to the link tree, which is in the chat, and blackprofessionalmen.org for more information about the organization and take the next steps to become a member. So on behalf of Black Professional Men, Shadidi Laser, your MC for this month, thank you for tuning in. Watch the replay on our Facebook and YouTube profiles.